After John Terry's fateful slip in Moscow in 2008, Chelsea made it their mission to climb back to the top of Europe. The following season, they powered their way into the Champions League semifinals and faced Barcelona. But a series of unbelievably controversial decisions from referee Tom Henny Verreeb crushed Chelsea's path to the final, ending their chance to meet Manchester United in back-to-back years. Over the next 2 seasons, the Blues were knocked out early, first by Inter Milan, then by Manchester United in the quarterfinals. By the time the 2011-2012 season arrived, Chelsea's board decided to part ways with Carlo Ancelotti and handed a 3-year contract to the young manager Andre Villas-Boas, once Jose Mourinho's trusted assistant during the golden years of 2000-2007. His arrival sparked huge expectations. After all, he had been at Mourinho's side through glorious spells at Porto and Inter, but everything fell apart fast. After 27 Premier League matches, Chelsea sat in 5th place. Worse, they had just lost 1-3 to Napoli in the first leg of the Champions League round of 16. Villas-Boas was dismissed immediately. Rumors pointed to Rafa Benitez as the next man in line, but for now, the team was placed in the hands of interim coach Roberto Di Matteo. And then, the classic new manager bounce struck like lightning. Chelsea erupted in a dramatic performance, defeating Napoli 4-1 after 120 breathless minutes to reach the quarterfinals. The draw paired them with Benfica, a determined Portuguese side, but not one capable of halting Chelsea's surge. A 3-1 aggregate win sent the Blues marching into the semifinals. Waiting for them, there was Barcelona, the reigning champions, the masters of tiki-taka, and Pep Guardiola's seemingly unstoppable machine. The first leg at Stamford Bridge was a masterclass in discipline. Chelsea stood firm and claimed a gritty 1-0 victory, but the real nightmare began when they walked into Camp Nou. 35th minute, Sergio Busquets opened the scoring for Barca. 2 minutes later, John Terry was shown a straight red card, leaving Chelsea with 10 men against the most terrifying attacking force in the world. 43rd minute, Andres Iniesta made it to 2-0. Chelsea were trapped in a corner with no escape in sight. And then out of nowhere, Ramirez burst through, lifted the ball beautifully over Valdez, and pulled one back, 2-1. A single moment that flipped the entire story on its head right before halftime. In the second half, Chelsea defended with every ounce of courage and maybe a touch of destiny. Lionel Messi smashed a penalty off the crossbar, then struck the post minutes later. Barcelona kept coming, and Chelsea refused to break. And in the 90+ minute, the miracle arrived. Fernando Torres sprinted clear on the counter, rounded Valdez, and calmly slotted the ball home to a dagger to Barcelona's heart. Despite holding 83% possession and firing 24 shots, Barca fell. Chelsea had just delivered one of the most unforgettable semi-final performances in Champions League history. After long years of waiting, they were finally back in the final. And this time, the opponent wasn't Manchester United, it was Bayern Munich. Jamie Carragher remarked, "The way Chelsea reached the final makes you feel like the season is destined to be theirs." Their journey reminds me of the road Liverpool took to Istanbul in 2005. Chelsea legend Gianfranco Zola added, "It's wonderful to see the club make it to the final. What Chelsea have achieved this season is truly remarkable. I wouldn't be surprised if they lift the trophy." May 19, 2012. The most anticipated Champions League final in Europe was finally here. The Allianz Arena, Bayern Munich's home ground, had been chosen as the venue, creating an atmosphere unlike anything before it. Bayern had the chance to win the Champions League on their own sacred turf. Despite playing at home, Bayern were allocated just 17,500 tickets, the same number Chelsea received even though the stadium held more than 60,000 seats. The limited distribution sent the scalper market into absolute chaos. Prime seats sold for €3,000, €4,000, nearly 10 times the original price of €370. One UEFA hospitality ticket was reportedly being offered for €10,000. Bayern entered the final desperate to erase a painful stretch of disappointments. They had finished behind Dortmund in the Bundesliga for the second straight year and were humiliated 5-2 by the same rival in the German Cup final. Chelsea's situation wasn't any less dramatic. They had just won the FA Cup, but finishing outside the Premier League top four meant one thing: win tonight or miss out on next season's Champions League. Frank Lampard put it simply, it was a crazy journey to even reach the final. Many of us understood this could be our last chance to touch the Champions League trophy. We'd waited far too long for this moment, and we weren't going to relive the pain of 2008, but Chelsea were dealt brutal blows in terms of squad availability. John Terry, Ramirez, Raul Meireles, and Branislav Ivanovic were all suspended. It wasn't until the 2014 to 2015 season that UEFA finally changed the rules and wiped yellow cards before the final to make the competition more compelling. The stage was set an electric home crowd, the desperate contenders, and a trophy that had slipped away from both sides in different ways. Everything pointed toward a Champions League final for the ages. Frank Lampard wore the captain's armband, and Chelsea were fortunate that central defenders David Luiz and Gary Cahill recovered in time from injuries. Remarkably, interim coach Roberto Di Matteo made a bold call by starting Ryan Bertrand, a 22-year-old defender who hadn't played a single minute in this season's Champions League, in the left midfield position. Chelsea lined up with a familiar backbone: Petr Cech, Ashley Cole, Juan Mata, Didier Drogba. On the other side, Bayern Munich head coach Jupp Heynckes was missing three key players: Holger Badstuber, David Alaba, and Luis Gustavo due to suspensions. Yet, Bayern still boasted a star-studded lineup: world-class goalkeeper Manuel Neuer, captain Philipp Lahm, midfield maestro Bastian Schweinsteiger, wingers Arjen Robben and Frank Ribery, and the formidable forwards Thomas Muller and Mario Gomez. For Bayern, this match was more than a final. It was a chance to erase the stain of their 0-2 loss to Inter Milan in the 2010 Champions League final, a memory still etched in Bavarian minds. Arjen Robben, ahead of kickoff, said, "This is a once-in-a-lifetime game. 2 years ago we failed, and now the opportunity is back. History only remembers the champions. I've won in Spain, Germany, England, the Netherlands, and now it's time to conquer Europe." From the very first minutes, Bayern Munich dominated the game. The home crowd could feel their determination, every touch and run radiating their hunger for glory. 21st minute, Arjen Robben cut into the box and unleashed a low, precise shot. Petr Cech got a hand to it, but the ball ricocheted off the junction of the crossbar and post, leaving the Allianz Arena nearly erupting in agony. 36th minute, Diego Contento delivered a perfect cross for Thomas Muller, who volleyed narrowly wide. 42nd minute, Mario Gomez twisted and shot, but the ball flew over the bar. The first half ended 0-0, yet the dominance was clear. Bayern had 60% possession and 16 shots, while Chelsea managed only 2. Petr Cech reflected at halftime, "We were told to give them no space at all. It wasn't pretty football, but it worked, and it's that style of football that got us to the final." Frank Ribery, on the second half, said, "We told ourselves to be patient. The goal will come." Everyone believed Bayern could finish the game in 90 minutes. The second half continued as a breathtaking siege by Bayern Munich. 54th minute, Ribery's shot rattled Chelsea's net, but the referee immediately ruled it out for offside. Just 5 minutes later, Arjen Robben tried his luck, but Ashley Cole threw himself back to block the attempt right on the goal line. And then, the inevitable happened. 83rd minute, Bayern finally broke the deadlock. From a pinpoint cross by Toni Kroos, Thomas Muller timed his run perfectly, darting into the space behind Ashley Cole, who had been pulled away by Gomez and powered a close-range header. The ball bounced off the ground and nestled into the net. Bayern Munich 1-0 Chelsea. The Allianz Arena erupted. Juan Mata recalled the moment. "Honestly, I thought it was over. Muller's goal felt like a dagger straight into our hearts and into the hearts of every Chelsea fan. We'd given everything, yet we couldn't keep a clean sheet. But the match wasn't over. We hadn't given up." To protect their slender lead, Jupp Heynckes brought on veteran center-back Daniel Van Batten for Thomas Muller in the 87th minute, a clear signal Bayern intended to lock down the game and keep the trophy at the Allianz Arena. But just 1 minute later, Chelsea were awarded their first corner of the match. In the 88th minute, Juan Mata stepped up. He delivered the ball to the perfect spot. And Didier Drogba, in a moment that would become the most iconic of his career, leapt higher than anyone else and powered a header straight into the net. The stadium shook. From the Allianz Arena to football-watching pubs across England, millions of Chelsea fans erupted in ecstasy. A hope that had seemed extinguished flared back to life with breathtaking intensity. Roberto Di Matteo recalled, "He's been a phenomenal player over 8 years at Chelsea. Drogba holds an incredible record, 9 goals and 9 finals for the club, and once again, he saved us." The final whistle of regulation time blew. Bayern Munich had at least 35 shots in 94 minutes, yet still couldn't put Chelsea away. The two teams were forced into extra time. But at the very start of extra time, Chelsea's hero became a potential villain. Didier Drogba fouled Frank Ribery in the penalty area, and Bayern were awarded a spot kick. The man of the match for Bayern that day, Arjen Robben, stepped up to take it. The Allianz Arena held its breath. Robben struck, and Petr Cech dived perfectly, making a life-or-death save. In the stands, billionaire owner Roman Abramovich leapt to his feet, fist clenched in pure elation. Petr Cech recalled, "It was an incredibly tense moment. I expected Robben to strike hard, not to try a cheeky placement. So I dove according to his run-up, and luckily, I guessed right. Arjen Robben admitted, a terrible moment for me. I had been teammates with Jack for 3 years at Chelsea. Maybe that's why he knew what I was going to do. 2 minutes later, Ivica Olic replaced Ribery, who could no longer continue due to injury. In the second half of extra time, Philipp Lahm delivered a tricky cross that created a perfect chance for Olic, but instead of shooting, he cut the ball across the box, and the opportunity slipped away. The clock ticked down. No side could score, and the Champions League final was forced into a penalty shootout, the ultimate test to crown Europe's king. Bayern were first to take a penalty. Captain Philipp Lahm stepped up to take the first spot kick. Jack got a hand to it, but the shot was too powerful, the ball hit the net. Bayern 1-0 Chelsea. Chelsea's turn. Juan Mata approached with a tense expression. Facing him was Manuel Neuer, widely regarded as the world's best goalkeeper at the time. And Neuer won the duel, saving Mata's shot. Chelsea were immediately on the back foot. The next round saw Mario Gomez and David Luiz score for their respective teams, leaving the shootout at 2-1 in Bayern's favor. Off the pitch, John Terry sat in the stands, covering his face, the haunting memory of Moscow 2008 rushing back. The third round began with a truly extraordinary moment, two goalkeepers facing each other. Manuel Neuer stepped up for Germany. Despite Jack guessing the right direction, the shot was too powerful, he couldn't stop it. Bayern's composure was chilling. They were closing in on victory. Then it was Frank Lampard's turn, calm as ever like he had been in Moscow. The only difference today, he wore Chelsea's captain armband. A powerful strike. No celebration, just a deep breath as he stepped back. Score, 3-0 Bayern. Next, Ivica Olic, brought on during extra time by Jupp Heynckes, took his shot, but Jack made a brilliant save, reigniting Chelsea's hope. Chelsea still had to do their part. Ashley Cole stepped up, struck perfectly. Neuer could only watch. The score was tied. The stands erupted in blue hope. Then came the moment of truth. Drogba knelt, eyes to the sky, silently praying. No one knew what awaited. Bayern's final penalty belonged to Bastian Schweinsteiger, vice-captain and symbol of German spirit. He focused, ran up, and the ball struck the post and bounced away. The Allianz Arena went silent. Fortune had turned its back on Bayern, right on their home ground. Now, Chelsea stood on the threshold of heaven. If Didier Drogba scored the next penalty, the Blues would be crowned European champions. 4 years earlier, he had cost the team dearly with a red card in Moscow. 4 years later, he had sent the match into extra time with a classic header. And now, destiny had chosen him to finish it all. Roman Abramovich, watching from the stands, could no longer contain his joy. 4 years ago, he couldn't celebrate back home in Russia. Today, he was about to witness Chelsea lift the trophy in Germany itself, shattering Bayern Munich's dreams. And then, Drogba struck. Neuer dived, but the ball nestled perfectly into the net. Chelsea had officially won the Champions League for the first time. In the corner of the pitch, John Terry, absent due to his red card in the semifinal, hugged his teammates tightly. He said, "I'm proud of my teammates. They fought brilliantly. Though I regret not being on the pitch, being part of this moment is unforgettable." Interim coach Roberto Di Matteo could hardly believe the miracle his team had just achieved. And ironically, just 6 months later, he would be dismissed. Drogba, the hero who decided it all, left Chelsea after that season. 8 years of dedication ended on a peak of glory, a perfect ending for a legend. Drogba once said, "There has always been a special connection between me and the Champions League. It's a title I pursued for nearly a decade. 9 years from Marseille to Chelsea, I trained relentlessly for that moment. And that night in Munich was one of the greatest moments of my career." Drogba would later return to Chelsea in 2014 at Jose Mourinho's invitation. Yet the magic, the defining moments that made him a legend, were already carved in memory. The pinnacle came in Munich, 2012. From 2004 to 2008, Chelsea had once reached a final in Russia. But it wasn't until 2012 that the journey was truly complete. The most prestigious trophy in Europe was finally lifted on Bayern Munich's home turf. It was a journey demanding immense investment, unwavering perseverance, and tireless fighting spirit from the coaching bench to every player wearing the blue jersey. Chairman Bruce Buck once said, "We deserve everything we've gone through. I know many clubs have 3 for stars on their shirts. Now Chelsea can proudly wear the first star. This is just the beginning, and we will continue striving to earn many more." For Bayern Munich, it was a season filled with heartbreak. The club finished second in all 3 competitions, the Bundesliga, the DFB Pokal, and the Champions League. Yet, the defeats did not crush them. On the contrary, they became the fuel that drove the Bavarian Giants to become stronger than ever. Captain Philip Lahm admitted, "The 2012 final made us much more mature. That defeat became a source of energy for the whole team. It prepared us for a historic season ahead." And just as he said in the very next season, 2012-2013, Bayern Munich became only the 7th club in European history to achieve the treble. Bundesliga, DFB Pokal, and Champions League, defeating Borussia Dortmund in an all-German European final. That triumph also served as a beautiful farewell to coach Jupp Heynckes, who had endured the agony of losing to Chelsea at the Allianz Arena just a year earlier. A bitter ending had laid the foundation for a new era of glory.